Everyone watching. Hey everyone. The recording is not like super official, but it definitely helps if people tune in later to see what we talked about. I didn't want to cover anything specific before the recording started because of
I had several people email me and say they would have to watch the recording.
Right. And I think we have some new faces or names on the call today. I don't know if anybody wants to introduce themselves.
I certainly can.
Yeah, and Yuri, why don't you go first because you're on video, and you and I did video before, but I don't think that the rest of the team's met you.
Yeah, sure. Hi everyone. My name's Yuri. I live in Chicago. I actually work in fintech, but so nothing related to logistics at all. But I've been learning a lot about logistics over the past 2, 3, 4 months. But my family is from Lviv, and so both my parents are physicians. They both went to medical school in Ukraine, and we've been just trying to support in any way we can. And so got in touch with Maureen through another Ukrainian connection, and have been helping or trying to help at least coordinate some of the supplies getting over to Ukraine by way of Wisconsin and Chicago.
And I'll kind of summarize kind of what we've done, Yuri, along with Vladimir, because a lot of that aid is going to go by air, and that is going to make a very significant difference or impact a lot faster than it going by ocean. So I definitely will I don't know if anybody else that's new would like to introduce themselves or say anything before we kind of go over what we've done in the past couple of weeks.
I will just say a big hello. It's Jocelyn here. It's nice to meet you all. I got invited by Enrique, who I met in Los Angeles back in February. So hi, Enrique.
Hey, how are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit on the other side. I'm also in sort of the technology and data side of logistics, but I've been in the logistics industry for 20 odd years. So I'm just going to be listening in today and seeing if there's anything I can help with or what have you. But yeah, just excited to get started.
Thanks for joining us. You sound like you might be in the UK.
Yeah, the British accent might fool you, though. I'm actually I was born and raised in the UK, but I'm actually sitting in Copenhagen in Denmark.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're going to Tivoli Gardens today.
There you go. That's exactly the one.
Tivoli Gardens is like a small amusement park in the middle of Copenhagen, if you guys haven't been there. So
nice. Very famous.
Yeah. Anyone else want to say anything before we started?
I did just want to mention, I was at a conference last week called Engage for Good, which is all about nonprofits and companies coming together to support causes. And so it was all different kinds of causes, all different kinds of companies. And they did call like an emergency Ukraine session that I was able to sit in on as well. And just people were there from those who have been in the area for years and years, as well as those trying to figure out their response. And there was probably about 60 people in there, I think. And the good news was, even though not everybody had figured out their response, when they asked, is there anyone who is in here whose company is not planning on doing something? Nobody raised their hand. So everybody was trying to figure out how to get involved and what they could do. And even companies, probably the biggest question for companies that had only ever done any kind of corporate giving within their own borders. So there were companies from all over the globe there, but they had never given outside their home country. And so they were also trying to figure out how to respond. So I felt like that was also really good, encouraging news that people are trying to figure it out. They want to be involved. They want to help. They want to stand with Ukraine. And so I thought that was a really positive response and glad to see.
Yeah, that's great.
On the same note, I was at Breakbulk Convention in Rotterdam last week, and very similar to what Christy is saying, like a lot of support to the Ukraine. I actually didn't have enough time to invite most of them for this meeting, but I'll do that for next one. I have a bunch of cards, and everyone was super interested in participating. Everyone was super interested in helping out. And of course, there was a huge people from Turkey and Ukraine and Poland and Moldova, and they were all kind of trying to help all the refugees. A lot of people were hosting families and things like that. So it was very inspiring. I feel like it's it's unfortunately going to drag a bit longer than we all kind of anticipated. So this will probably go on for a longer time, but it's encouraging to see how much support and how aligned people are when there's so much things that divide us. I think this is one thing that at least we all, no matter where we are in Copenhagen or Atlanta, I think we can all kind of relate to, and everyone seems to be helping as much as they can. So that was inspiring, I guess.
I also have been to Rotterdam last week, Enrique. If I knew you would be there, we could meet.
We should have met. Oh, that's a shame. Were you there for the break bulk as well?
Yeah, sure. As visitor.
Yeah, no, me too, as visitor as well. Well, next time. Now that I know,
Yeah, next
Dimitro.
time, definitely.
Natty Wilson, I saw that you were about to go on mute a bit ago. Did you want to introduce yourself or say hi?
Hello to everybody. It's my first time here, and I was invited by Enrique. And I'm from Ukraine. I represent the Ukrainian logistics company. We provide all logistics services like freight services, port forwarding, tracking, custom clearance, etc. And it's really interesting to listen your questions, what you discuss. Probably we can help with any logistics solutions or give any advice or receive any advice from your side. So today I will try to listen and to be like you joiner to your conversation. Thank you for inviting.
Thank you for joining us. So Enrique, since you invited her, so can someone make sure I get her contact info after, so I can definitely connect on some of the actual live shipments we have?
Yeah, of course. And I guess, Nadi, thank you very much for joining.
Yeah.
And two things. One, if you can send your email on the chat, then Maureen can add you to the list. And then also feel free to invite anyone else that you think might actually be not only interested in learning a little bit more about this sessions and how we can help Ukraine, but someone that might be actually being out there as someone in the Ukraine that can also support us when it comes to logistics or other things.
Yeah. And Yuri and Jocelyn, if you want to put your information in chat, then you're totally welcome to do that too.
Yeah, anyone. So a couple updates since our last call. After our last call, Vladimir was very vocal in our last call and shared a bunch of info. So he and I connected after the fact, and all that performance health material that we had been trying to figure out the best way to get to Ukraine. And if anyone remembers, or if you're watching this after the fact, it was about 110 pallets, and then they added about 10 pallets more. And we had sent that spreadsheet out to tons of different groups, but I think they wanted to pick and choose, or didn't know how they would handle it at destination. Vladimir was able to make contact with his connection at the General Consulate of Ukraine, one of their offices in the US, that has a flight that goes from Chicago to Ukraine every couple of weeks, and they are taking all of it. So Vladimir is going to assist with helping get the actual truckloads of material. And I told him Vector would help with anything that he didn't have the capacity for or the capital for on that. So we're just waiting on the final information on that, whether it's going to go out of Chicago like usual or possibly another location in Kentucky. But that means that material is going to get on a plane in the next week to 10 days. Probably, Vladimir, that's what we think.
Yeah, that's what we've been thinking. That's what when I was talking to the office, my contact, he's the plane that we use. We actually transported a truckload of products on it. Left 2 weeks prior to it, and with the holiday and everything, and there was some other things. They told me that the next one will be, sometime within in the first 2 weeks of June. So that's what we're kind of we're waiting on to give us a specific location.
Yeah, so we're going to work to get that off Performance Health's docks as soon as they're starting to prep the material. They needed a week or 2 weeks. And I spoke to Abert on Friday. So they're starting to prep it because they're consolidating it from a bunch of different warehouses. And then Vladimir and I said, we'll pick it up, take care of it. We'll get it off your docks, because then as soon as we know where it's flying out of, we're just going to get it up there to the warehouses. So that is a significant contribution in terms of like resourcing. Oh, there's Steve. There you go. The ability to get that product there quickly. It's not going to go through a lot of bureaucratic channels, because it's going to go straight into the government. So that was Vladimir kind of using his contacts, and that truly is something that we've been trying to do through having these calls, is kind of the matchmaking and resourcing. I think that is a great example of just us connecting the dots and moving that forward. And then Vladimir has 2 containers of material that he is preparing within his community that we are looking to get into Ukraine. We're looking to pick it up in the next couple of weeks. He and I are coordinating that separately. And then Yuri and I spoke a couple of weeks ago as well, and he put me in contact with Doug, and you were saying he's the president of the Humana chapter in Wisconsin, but I'm not sure if you want to say anything about what Humana does.
Yeah, it's the Ukrainian Medical Association of North America. So it's a collection of North American physicians that most of them have obviously some ties to Ukraine. So Doug is married to a woman who's a physician, and she's from Lviv. And so that's how he got really involved. And they have established a 501c3 entity to accept humanitarian aid and donations on a nonprofit kind of manner, all very legitimately and legally. And they received a donation of space from, there's 2 places, one in Chicago and one at a private airplane hangar in Wisconsin. And so basically they use that space to receive supplies, package supplies, and then drive them down to Chicago for this plane that is chartered by Humana to basically leave every so often. It used to be every 2 weeks. It's a little bit less now, just because the donations have slowed down a little bit, and it costs about $65 grand to get the plane to run. So they generally get some sort of donations to support each individual flight. And Doug is, my mom works closely with Doug as well. They have worked together in the past, and that's kind of how I got in touch with them.
So along those lines, I contacted Mather because they've discussed that their material is kind of an unlimited amount of donation. And I asked them if we could have a full truckload of their material, and we would get it from Mather to the warehouse in Wisconsin. And then Doug said that they're ready and waiting for it. So that will help also get, 20 to 40 pallets on an airplane over there a lot faster than it going by ocean. So there's a couple other containers in motion. We have a bunch of requests, or not a request, we have possible donations of hand sanitizer, and I'm looking into the shipping for that because it's flammable. In some cases, it's considered a dangerous good, and how the steamship lines want to handle that from the rail, and if somebody wants to claim it at the receiving end. And then we've also had a possible donation of an ambulance. So I'm looking into how we would get that, because when you transport a vehicle, there's additional kind of customs challenges exporting it and putting it on a container, and likewise receiving it at destination. So there's an ambulance that Mather had possibly received a donation for. It's in Atlanta, so we're looking into how to coordinate the logistics for that. And then
actually, I looked at pictures from the flight that they did prior to this, because they sent me like some pictures from just like the cargo. And I saw 3 ambulances in there actually. So
yeah, well, but that stuff's going to directly to the government and the military. So it's a little bit different from if you're putting like a vehicle on a steamship line. or and you're
Oh, okay.
importing it, there's different, you know, because we deal with a lot of like smaller sort of vehicles, and it has to be drained, and you have to have the title and all these. And some of the steamship lines don't take vehicles, at least personal vehicles. In this case, it's not. So we're just kind of looking into that. He just emailed me
Okay,
like
I
last
see.
night about that. And then Lee also from Hand in Hand had emailed me about procuring a vehicle for one of their ministries in Ukraine, but the vehicle's already in Europe. So we're going to connect them with Dan at the WCA, because that doesn't require like container shipping or anything like that. That might just be able to be driven, and there might be some customs logistics that goes along with transporting that vehicle and transferring ownership, but that's not something that requires a vessel or a steamship line or an airplane or anything. So those are some of the major updates that we've had here. I feel like these calls have accomplished a lot in terms of bringing awareness to ways that we can all connect with each other. And really, I mean, Vladimir, you were just talking last time, and I'm like, I gotta find out exactly what this guy does, because he's done this, and you know, and then literally 24 hours later, we have a letter from the consulate that says that they'll take all this stuff from Performance Health and ship it there. So I felt like that was a big win for everybody in Ukraine. So thanking everybody for joining and being open to talking to new people and stepping outside our comfort zone in order to make some of this happen. But those are like the main updates that I had. I don't know if anybody has anything that they want to add or contribute when it comes to donors' needs or donor offerings or needs on the receiving end, or overall questions or connections. I don't definitely want to be speaking the whole time.
Maureen, Vladimir, maybe just a quick update from us on the shipment we're working on. So Maureen and Vladimir, thank you for the letter you've sent last week. We are busy preparing the product. We've started preparing the shipment. We should have cargo ready for collection first week of June. We will just need to make sure that if there's any specific documentary requirements, that all of that is addressed.
Okay.
Yeah, and we figured the first week of June worked out better for everybody's timing because of the holiday at the end of this week. Vladimir and I were talking about how there's always kind of hiccups at the end of the week before a holiday, and then, you know, the kind of the hangover of that day after the holiday of catching up. So we were glad that everything got pushed a little bit. So the trucking companies, the warehouses, everybody could recoup from some of that volume and capacity over the holiday weekend. So the first week of June is perfect, Evert. So we can then get it off your docks and off your books and everything, and get it moving for you.
Perfect. So the only question that I have is, do you anticipate that we can stage the trucks, not for everything to arrive at the same time, but to be spread over a couple of days?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do it within a couple of days. That works. Yeah, we can get one truck in and then give you a day or two for you guys to prep the rest of it, and then we'll pick it up again.
Perfect.
And then we'll just have to have a breakdown with Bill Lading with a breakdown of all the products, in each trailer, so that way it's easier for the inventory to happen on the other end.
Yes, we will include the detailed packing list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm really excited about this because I have been emailing with Evert for a while, being like, I'm gonna have an update for you tomorrow. I'm gonna have one tomorrow. I'm gonna have one tomorrow. And then finally, I had this paper, and I was like, I have this paper, and it's all gonna go on, one time. And so I know that he was like, finally, Maureen, you have a tangible update. But I was really happy for that because, again, going by air saves so much time, and all the congestion right now that the ports are getting over in Eastern Europe, and the additional volume, and then the conflict has just created an additional stress point for labor and trucking, and there's just so much going on over there. That product is going to get where it's needed so much
And the
faster.
The good thing is I already did one shipment of stuff, we collected with our company from just different, smaller shipments. We gathered it into one, bigger shipment. So I was already the guinea pig. So I've done it already. So it's, you're not going to be the guinea pig on this one.
Perfect.
I already did it.
And just something that I'm curious about. We shipped the tourniquets quite a while ago, Maureen, and I know those tourniquets were in desperate need. Do you
Yes.
know if that has left yet?
So what I'm gonna do is actually, because I'm gonna match it up with either Vladimir's shipment going by air or the one that you came on late with Yuri, that's gonna go by air. I'm gonna match it up with one of those two. Vector will take it up to Chicago and put it on one of those planes and get it out much faster. Because we
Perfect.
haven't had as many kind of singular donations of pallets, and I don't want it, they're needed. They're both going into, by these other two shipments are going by air. It's going to get over there a lot faster. So I was just saying that right before you got on. And I just spoke to Books for Africa this morning to get the exact weight and dimensions of the two pallets so I could get an LTL carrier in there too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Because I've just seen on the news again last night with the heavy bombardment in the Donbass area, a lot of civilians are being hurt and injured, etc. And I'm sure tourniquets, because of shrapnel, those are some of the products that's probably most urgently needed.
Exactly. And that stuff that was an initial donation, and there weren't as many other kind of singular pallets here and there going into Books for Africa, and that's needed. And this will get it up to getting it either to the warehouse in Wisconsin with Umana or going out with Vladimir. It's going to get there weeks faster. So that's just something we'll cover and take care of that and get that up there since you guys got it to Books for Africa.
Thank you.
And I was going to reach out to you separate in case you need to change your paperwork. I don't know if you do, but for this purpose, you don't need to change it. But internally, if you do, I can get you that information for sure. Yeah. This came about in the last day or so. Because Yuri hooked me up with this guy, Doug, but he's like the only vascular surgeon in Wisconsin or something. So he writes me at random hours of the night. And we don't know when, after he takes his 15-minute nap, then we reach out again. So this is kind of happened pretty quickly. So yeah. Something I don't want to forget to mention is that Dan from the WCA, he had joined us for some previous calls, but they have raised a significant amount of capital in order to get humanitarian aid going over to Poland, Ukraine, Moldova, and they're going to be sponsoring 2 containers. And so Vladimir, those are going to be the 2 containers that you're shipping. The WCA is going to be covering those because they're going directly into Ukraine. And he's been working with us because where Vladimir's containers need to be going, it's this area where some of the ports around it we can't get into, so they're going to have to be transloaded, and there's going to be some additional logistics involved. And Dan has been working with us as to who he wants to be working on that shipment when it gets to Europe and the best port to get into, because apparently Romania has been pretty difficult with holding up some shipments and additional paperwork and things like that. So we're bypassing, and they've had a lot of congestion. So we've been working with Dan at the WCA on the stuff for Vladimir that's not the performance health stuff, the other humanitarian aid that he's coordinating in his community.
Yeah, we already got 2 full containers pretty much staged and wrapped and ready to go. So whenever we get those, in next couple of weeks, we'll just load them up and let them loose.
Yeah, we're Valeria on my team has been working with that because of where it's going to go from Tampa and the timing and stuff. So I have an update. She sent me an email right before we got on the call, so I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, thank you everyone for
our daily call. Yeah.
Nadi, what are you seeing since you're DESA? Is this kind of consistent to what you're seeing right now? Is there any kind of changes in what you might need or any products? What's your point of view?
And unfortunately, for this time, all our ports are blocked, which we used before. It's Odessa, Chernomorsk, and Yuzhny port. This was like 3 big ports in my area. But for our clients, for now, we are found another ways for delivering they got it's we send our containers through the Turkey, through Poland, or through Romania. This is 3 usual ways for now, but we're all waiting for opening our Odessa port, because it's really disaster for all logistics in our area.
Hey, hey, Marina.
We also do have a few offices in Ukraine, like in Odessa, Kiev, and we used to have one office in Mariupol. This is separate sad story, but for sure now logistic activities in the Black Sea ports are completely closed. Yes, and there is just to consider another big issue for humanitarian aid delivery. This is fuel crisis in Ukraine. This is influenced too much for trucking fee and trucking as road freight business itself. It's quite difficult to organize stable traffic with trailers right now, because on Ukrainian Poland borders, there is a line of trailers about 25 kilometers right now. So you can imagine.
Yeah.
What do we work on right now? We are going to offer intermodal service logistics to deliver containers from Poland and other European Union ports to hub and somewhere close to Ukrainian-Polish border, and then to deliver inside to all destination by rail, as we actually do here now in the Humanitarian Center in Warsaw. Here we do cooperate with Polish Agency of Strategic Reserve called RARS, and all humanitarian aid that goes by government line to Ukraine goes by rail. It's more or less stable solution right now at the moment.
How are the rails right now? I thought some of them had been damaged, so that was preventing a lot of the cargo going, let's say, as far as it needed to go.
Yeah, there is another issue, yes, with rail, for sure. But, you know, the story is that the situation is changing on a daily basis. So we actually can't predict what's gonna happen in the next few days or a week or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I suggest to keep in mind all possible solutions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I think Nadia would be able to speak to it as well, but from when I've spoken to our agents and partners in surrounding countries, you know, they're reinforcing what you're saying, like the situation's changing on a daily basis. So I can tell you the best course of action for right now as you plan from the US, but it could change a little bit or a lot by the time the material gets here. So we're just going to reassess then. So anyone that's been shipping stuff with us and it's been leaving, we're making the best decision at the time with the information that we have. But for example, Constanța in Romania is very congested. We've had some customers ship some things to Romania prior to our involvement in this initiative. And they're seeing that there's been some holdups because of paperwork and customs, just some bureaucracy that they didn't anticipate, because they thought that it would be a little bit more lenient and understanding, given that it was humanitarian aid. But then with the port being congested, and it's almost like you look at the port of LA when there was so much additional volume going in there, the warehouses were getting full, and it created a little bit of chaos and traffic. I think a lot of the major ports, even inland ports, are seeing that closer you get to Ukraine, because the material can't go directly into Ukraine, it has to be transloaded, put into a warehouse, and then taken over the border. And like you said, with the long queuing lines to cross the border, it's not as quick as we hope. But I think some of that's we're accommodating for an additional volume that didn't exist before the conflict.
Yeah.
Yuri, you were going to say something a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, you and I were emailing a little bit with Svetlana too. The shipment that she had outlined from Nashville, sorry, camera, the one that had like X-rays and some other medical supplies.
Yeah.
Is there? I forgot. We didn't lose track of that one, did we?
No, she had asked me. I replied and asked her a question on that, and I think I'm still waiting for an answer. But thank you for reminding me, because sometimes I know it gets. Because I wanted with that one, it has a specific consignee it's going to, so it can't go on like the consulate plane. I don't know if it could go on the one where you were, but there was something along. Because there's only a couple pallets, I believe.
It's just one, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because there was a bunch of cartons. So I think that one. I will follow up with her on that, but I feel like I asked her. I can't switch screens right now, or it'll freeze if I look at my email. But I'll look up on that, and you'll all touch base with you later today on that. I feel like I asked her a question on that, and I'm still waiting for an answer.
I think you did too. I just couldn't remember exactly.
Yeah, it's possible I didn't though. So, but let me look. I normally leave that unread if I have to go back to it, so I can.
Yeah.
It's my reminder. But yeah, Svetlana. Oh, I found Svetlana through Christy, who found her on LinkedIn somehow. So again, and then she's kind of helped find the circle. She found me Yuri. So it's all coming full circle, which was, the intent and purpose of this call to begin with. Does anybody have anything else they want to contribute or ask or anything? We don't have to keep this call to 59 minutes and 30 seconds every week. It's more, or every other week. I just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to share anything. And then we have the requisite follow-up afterwards.
The only thing I wanted to add, I chatted with my dad yesterday, and he chats with contacts basically on the front, like almost every day, and mostly through Telegram and WhatsApp. And I guess one of the problems now is that there's like too many people volunteered for the military, and so there aren't enough basics like boots and socks and all that kind of stuff that you still need on the front, even if you're not especially if you're not trained to be in the military but you volunteered. So some of those basics are just important not to lose track of, I think, because people, a lot of times, like even I'll get lost and think, oh, I need to buy a drone, or like I need to buy night vision goggles. But at the end of the day, those are things that the military is going to send, and even basics like boots and underwear and stuff like that really help.
Maureen, I wonder if we could actually send a quick email to our friends at Bombas for the socks. I know they had like some products that they were donating in the past, but maybe this could be another good opportunity to reach out to them and say, hey, during our call, there might be some need of socks. Can we maybe ship some of them?
Yeah, I know that Nuria had reached out to them last week because she was trying to either meet with them when she was in London this week, or there was a reason that she was reaching out to them because she was meeting with Dan at the WCA. And I don't know that they had replied to her at all. And that was a singular sort of reaching out. It wasn't asking for donations. So I'll follow up with Nuria first. And
they ran out of their original amount of donations, so I don't know when they were restocking. We might also see where Souls for Souls is as well, and see. I know they'd already distributed a lot, but not sure if where the rest of their pipeline is coming from.
Yeah. Okay. Definitely. Yeah, I'll reach out to Nuria first before I reach out to. I believe the contact at Bombas was Kelly.
Yeah.
Sorry, Maureen, I'm here.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Nuria.
Hi.
Hello. Did
Yes.
anybody from Bombas reply to you when you reached out to them?
No. I sent an email to Kerry Motola in the UK, and I haven't heard anything from her yet.
Okay, so, perfect.
As soon as I know anything, I will let you know.
Yeah, okay. shoot them another email, Nuria.
All right.
With this new request, I think it might be
all right.
a good opportunity.
And
Right.
Maureen, Mark has the retail stores in Moldova as well. So I don't know what he's doing. I know we're working with him on a different project, but I don't know if he's sending clothes or anything like that as well.
Okay, I will. Yeah, his container left, so we were coordinating with him earlier in the week or last week with some paperwork, but then I'll reach out to him. So I'm just taking some notes here.
And I think White House and Shapiro would have more clothes to donate. There's our thrift store clothes. So I know some of the larger humanitarian organizations wouldn't take them because of their own regulations and restrictions, but you know, for smaller independent agencies or like Serve, I know was willing to take them because they were distributing through churches and things like that. So that's another option that we probably have too.
Yeah. Well, and from what I've read, I think the Ukrainian military is conscripted. So that's why there's like a large, a lot of the refugees are mainly women and children because the men are not able to leave from a certain age. So there's certainly probably more of a need for men's items within Ukraine and then women and children's items outside of Ukraine and maybe elderly. Because of that, you might know more because the contacts that your family has there, or even Vladimir, since I know that you have been in contact with people on that side, but I definitely think there might be a breakdown where we can identify some different needs depending on the ultimate location or destination. Okay, that's a good call. Does anybody have anything else for today? No, okay. A reminder for everyone live, but also watching later, our next call will be in 2 weeks, which is Tuesday, June 7th at 11 o'clock Eastern. So we'll just a reminder, we're doing it every other week now. And then we can reassess if we need to change the time or the frequency as the summer goes on. We don't want it to be, we don't want our message and our conversations to be irrelevant, but we also know that there's a lot going on that we're not able to, we don't need to come and just have a checklist of things we go through either. So we're open to feedback about frequency, timing, agenda, anything like that. This is not meant to be, you know, Maureen dictated at all. And I said enough today. Yeah. Thank you all of you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for the invite. Nice to meet everyone.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Meet you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
See you,
Bye.
see you later.
Bye.